So the first tool is we could look at the partial sums. I'll call this tool number 1. We could look at sum of the partial sums. And as I write these two words, I can see where English could be a little troublesome language there. So, well, I gotta tell you what is a partial sum. Partial sum would be the sum of some of the terms, not all of them. Let me underline partial sums there. And I'll say this: if a series converges, then it equals some number, we'll just call it S. If a series does not converge, then it does not equal some number S. But if it converges, we can write this. We can write the series A sub n equals S. So one thing we can do to kind of look at it and try to figure out if the series converges or not is we can look at what we call partial sums. We can look at a few partial sums. And I'm going to do this with my example I had previous. So, for example, the series, as n is starting with 0 and going to infinity, of 1 over 2 to the n would have these partial sums. Now I'm going to call the first one S sub 0 because I'm starting with 0. S sub 0 is the sum as n starts at 0 and stops at 0 of 1/2 to the n. So that's just 1/2 to the 0. And that's going to be what number? 1. S sub 1, normally I think of the first partial sum as just having one term, but since I'm starting this one with S sub 0, my S sub 1 here will have two terms. N's going from 0 to 1 of 1/2 to the n. So plug in 0, 1/2 to the 0, and then add, plug in 1, 1/2 to the first, and that's going to be 0 plus, oh, not 0. What's that going to be? 1. 1 plus 1/2, and that's going to be 3/2. So here's my first partial, well, my 0th partial sum, my first partial sum. Partial sum S sub 2. The sum as n goes from 0 to 2 of 1/2 to the n would be 1/2 to the 0 plus 1/2 to the first plus 1/2 squared. 1/2 to the 0 is 1. 1/2 to the first is 1/2, and then plus 1/4. And that's going to be, well, the common denominator is 4. 4 over 4 plus 2/4 plus 1/4, 7 over 4. How about the fourth partial sum? Or the third, rather. I'm getting a little confused because I started with 0. So S sub 3 n goes from 0 to 3 of 1/2 to the n. That would be 1/2 to the 0, which is 1. 1/2 to the first, which is 1/2. 1/2 to the second, which is 1/4. 1/2 to the third, which is 1/8. And if you add those up, you will get 15 over 8. How about S sub 4, S sub 5? Take a few minutes and figure those out.